The Jake Asman Show will begin shortly. Thanks to all these great Patreon members who help support the show. Get your super chats ready. Jake will be here in just a moment. If you love the New York Jets, this is the place to be. And now, the Jake Asman Show.
Aaron Rodgers called it one of the most realist speeches he has experienced in 20 years in the NFL. That was Davante's speech to the Jets after they lost in Pittsburgh. Will it matter? What does it mean? We'll talk about that and much more in today's Jake Asman Show. Let's hit it and get it started.
Please subscribe and hit the like button below. Super chat, baby. Cut the line. Now it's time to talk all things New York Jets. It's the Jake Asman Show.
Here we go, Jet fans. Welcome in, everybody. It is indeed the Jake Asman Show. Before we get started, a huge reminder that this Sunday we have our latest watch party. Will the Jets win a game? We can watch it in person together at T Squared Social in Midtown Manhattan. Free event, just RSVP. If you want to join us, we'll have all the other games on as well, so you can follow your bets, your fantasy team, and watch the Jets and Patriots with me and special guest joining us at the watch party, the great Joe Beningo. Joe B will be watching, screaming, yelling, who knows, watch a Jet game with Joe and I this Sunday, Jets Patriots at T Squared Social. Before we bring on today's great guest, Nick Faria in his weekly spot, Jet beat reporter, of course, I want to play you Devonte Adams yesterday meeting with members of the media, explaining what exactly he said to the New York Jets and why he said it after the Jets lost a brutal game that dropped them to 2-5 in Pittsburgh.
It's not really my personality to see something that's not right and to just let it go on, regardless of whether it's from the coaches, players, management, support staff, whoever. So obviously it was a lack of energy and urgency out there. And it was apparent, especially coming from, I've played on teams that have that winning culture, and just basically I just took a moment to let them know, like, I had reservations about speaking up too early and being too vocal too early, but I felt like, in my mind I said F that, because I need to, we don't have time, and I got to do whatever I got to do to help this team move forward. And lacking energy, that's a prerequisite to be able to go out there and have a good year or have a good play or, whatever it is. So in my mind, it was something that I wouldn't have been able to sleep if I didn't speak up on it. And, I got a lot of good feedback, which it wasn't a big rah-rah thing. It was just more, to bring awareness to it, because a lot of these guys in here haven't been anywhere else where they've won and, have had that urgency that it takes in order to be a good team. So, this team being so talented on, roster-wise, it's just a waste to have everybody out there and, to have a dead sideline like that. Brees catch a ball and go 60, and we can't feed off none of the energy, and those type of plays are supposed to be contagious for the rest of the team. So that's basically what I saw and what I told him is a thing. I'm not here to be the savior. Everybody was looking, the whole world. Trump was at the game. I don't know if that's because of me or not, but everybody's sitting here expecting it to be, me go out there and put up 200 yards and 3 tugs, but that's a storybook ending to it, and obviously that would have been amazing if that happened, but I'm here to help shift this culture more than anything. I can go out there and make the plays that I can make and try to, influence guys, as much as I can, but I'm trying to, enforce a winning mindset on these guys. And if you don't have, the energy, which is the least you got to have, you only get 17 games. We can talk like that's a lot of games or not, but, I also said to them, this ain't baseball. We got a few opportunities to come out here, show what we work on, all the crazy blood, sweat, and tears we put into this, and, to have only 17 ops and to come out flat like that and essentially give away a game, that's unacceptable. So, just trying to bring a different type of swag and culture in here. Brees, like I said, he breaks one down the field, play that wasn't designed to go to him, wasn't designed to get down there and check down, and, we see him getting upfield, and it's like, cool. Guy got 60 yards, and we don't feel nothing from the sideline. Like, again, I'm not pissed off at the guys, but you just got to make them aware that that's not right. And there's a way to, and it's also demoralizing for the defense. And I know the offense alike. They go out there and they get the ball off and they get to celebrating when I'm still on the ground. Like I wrap the dude up and he's after the thing. Like, you know, they're doing all of this rah-rah and all that. Like that can weigh on the opposite side of the ball. So, we want to play to obviously be as tough as possible.
That was Devonte Adams yesterday. And let me say this before we bring on our guest, Jets insider Nick Faria. I'm glad Devonte said all that, but it's a major indictment on the leaders in the locker room and the culture that Robert Saleh built, that a guy who's been with the Jets for 10 minutes recognized this and felt like he had to speak out because they are out of time. They're 2-5. They're facing must-wins starting Sunday. Wow. For more on this and for more on the state of the Jets, we say good morning to Nick Faria, who will be in New England up in the press box covering Jets-Pats on Sunday. Nick, you just saw it there. What did you make of what Davante said yesterday?
Very similar. I had a very similar thought process to you, Jake. I thought, okay, really nice that an older player is sort of taking the reins, taking a leadership role in this organization. Doesn't matter how long you've been there. If you feel something's right, you feel something's not right, you need to speak up. You need to speak up. So in Devonte Adams' case, it's great to see him doing that. Oh, my God, how big of an indictment this is on the current Jets roster. I won't even say Robert Saleh because I don't think this is as big of an indictment on Robert Saleh's culture as it is the decision to fire him in the first place. The fact that this team came out flat after the half, and we've heard from Devonte Adams, Aaron Rodgers, and Joe Tipman, all of them said, yeah, we came out flat. That to me isn't, well, Robert Saleh allows it to happen. Jeff Ulbrich is essentially Robert Saleh, but a completely different player. He's a former NFL player. And the thought was by firing Saleh and bringing him up, that you would get a sort of excitement, a little bit more oomph, mojo to this roster, to everything about this. And the fact of the matter is the exact opposite has happened. They have come out flat now for 2 weeks. You've had mental mistakes, the same problems that Robert Saleh had, continue with Jeff Ulbrich. This, to me, is more about an owner who, I don't want to say completely listened to Jets Twitter, but made a decision based on his own preferences without consulting the locker room. The fact that sideline is as dead as it was, Devonte Adams says. The fact that these guys come out flat, that's sure, you can talk about it being part of a coaching thing, but that's also a player thing too. These guys look demoralized early on this season. 7 games in and they look demoralized. Part of that has to be they made a coaching change without really getting the approval of the players. The players have all come out and said they were surprised about that move. And I'm not saying that they're quitting on the season, but this is pretty obvious to show that Woody Johnson making this decision had a very significant impact on this roster because they have still not recovered.
Well, here would be my thing, though, Nick. These were problems with Saleh, too. The lack of energy, coming out flat. To me, it's still the culture he established, right? I mean, it's still his staff. It's still the fact that he has been here, going into his 4th season. I mean, we would talk about Saleh just being like a statue at times on the sideline, having that stoic demeanor, that stoic face. So I do put some of it on him. I just think it's sad that a guy, once again, that yes, Davante Adams going to the Hall of Fame. He obviously has the cachet to say whatever he wants to say, and players, I think, will gravitate to that. But the fact that he had to say it when he's been with the team for 10 minutes and he noticed this, awful. It's bad right now, man. And I said this to you off air, even if you were the biggest Jets hater or the most pessimistic Jet fan, you didn't buy into the hype. You didn't think this team was going to be a playoff team. You didn't think this team had any chance of competing for a championship. You didn't think they'd be 2-5 with the schedule. No, I mean, it is sad right now.
Well, and the other thing is that I'll go back on the Robert Saleh piece here and just point out he's not here anymore. The idea of changing him up, yes, they were low on energy and there wasn't as much excitement on the sideline, but the idea of bringing in Jeff Ulbrich was to change that, to light a spark in everyone, and the opposite has happened, where it's even more just depressed and just overall misery for this organization. So I look at this where everything is right now, and this Jets team reminds me so much of the dream team in 2011 of the Eagles, where they had all this talent, and they brought in Nnamdi Asman, and they brought in Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, and the backup quarterbacks talking about a Super Bowl, and all these other great pieces. And they finished 8-8 because they didn't know how to play as a team. I wrote an article earlier this week on Athlon Sports about this. The Jets are a bad football team with an extremely talented roster. And that's what it really just comes down to. They have no idea how to win. They have no idea how to play together. And they've essentially been told right away, you need to figure out a way to win no matter what, no matter who the coach is, because you still got to figure it out. Quite frankly, to me, this was staggering from Devonte Adams. Aaron Rodgers talking about being an impactful speech and all the players trying to come out and have that rah-rah moment. But they've had team meetings before. They've spoken to each other about accountability. They did so the day Robert Saleh was fired. How many more team meetings are you going to have before this turns around? Eventually, this is who they are. They're an undisciplined mess who have no idea how to win, no idea how to play together, and rather just pick up the stats they want so that way they can get the contracts they want later on.
Well, that's certainly what Haason Reddick is here for, and we'll get into him coming up because what a disgrace that guy is. But let me say this, Nick. This could go now one of two ways. It could not matter at all. Even if they beat the Patriots, it's going to be like, great, you beat the worst team in the league. It's going to matter what they do really against Houston and then beyond that with the schedule coming up. Or, you're a Met fan. This is like Lindor calling the team meeting. Sure. And this is like something we point to, right? Herm had you play to win the game speech. That's what changed the 2-5 Jets in 2002 to turning their season around when they rattled off a bunch of wins and won the division the last time they won the division. Oh, by the way. So it really could go one of two ways. It could be a footnote. It doesn't matter. Or it's the moment that we point back to and go, that was the moment things changed. But it starts by getting a win on Sunday, which bottom line is they should, and it doesn't change how you feel about this team if they beat the worst team in the league. And then beyond that, what do they then do 4 days after that against the Texans? Like their season really will be decided over these next 2 games. They have 2 games in a 4-day span, and that will decide their season.
It really just comes down to this. If they lose to the Patriots, if they found a way to lose to the Patriots,
it's over.
It's not only over, you should probably try to find ways to trade Tyron Smith and trade Morgan Moses and trade these veterans that are on 1-year deals that are going to be free agents after the year, like a full, what I call it is a partial teardown, where you're not going to trade Sauce Gardner or Garrett Wilson, but you can get rid of Morgan Moses, Tyron Smith, some of these guys that aren't going to be here next season. It really is incredible because this Patriots team is the worst team in the NFL, and they are as dysfunctional as the New York Jets. You've got their head coach calling players soft, their former coach criticizing the current coach for calling players soft. There are just so many issues with the Patriots. In reality, the Jets should win this game by over 20 because they're just so much more talented. They've already beaten them by 20 once this year, and the Patriots have nothing on their roster. Anything close, like if they have to squeak by with a win, how is that going to instill any confidence in this roster, regardless of how talented they are? They need to blow out the Patriots. They absolutely should, and they probably will. But even then, 3-5, what does that do? You just beat the worst team in football. 2 of your wins have come against that particular team. How have you given this fan base, this organization, anyone around you faith that you can figure out a way to turn this around? They haven't shown it.
No. And look, the thing I'll say is this. Like I see a super chat that just came in here from the Power. I'm just so deflated, Jake, trying to find hope. I'm not going to sit here and act like I expect the season turnaround. But if you want to hold on to hope, you win Sunday. You're at home, short week against a team you played well last year. In fact, you blew out last year. And the schedule's not overly difficult. So, Rodgers talked about yesterday how it could just be one thing that clicks, and then you go on a run. I've been on teams like that before. Like, okay, we want to hold on to that, fine. But the other thing I'll say is the last 4 years, there's been a team in the NFL, Nick, that has started 2-5 and has ended up making the playoffs. And I'd imagine last year, if we were watching Packers YouTube, they were not exactly pointing to a turnaround coming. They were questioning Jordan Love. They were questioning.
They were looking for a quarterback change.
Yeah, they were questioning if whether or not Brian Gutekunst, their GM, made a mistake with the Love pick, and if they're going to finally be in a spot where they don't have a future Hall of Fame quarterback play for them. 2-5 Jaguars 2 years ago. I think the conversations were very similar to what we're talking about now. All this talent, you bring in the coach. Trevor Lawrence is not the guy, which 2 years later, he's probably not the guy. But you get my point. When you're 2-5, you don't have a whole lot of things to point to why you're going to turn it around. But we've seen teams turn it around. It's all still technically in front of the Jets, but they got to show it, man. Beating the Patriots is not enough. It's a prerequisite to then getting ready for Houston to try and have a moment where you could say, all right, we've stabilized things. Now we have winnable games against the Cardinals and Colts before the bye. There's a path to 6-5 at the bye week, but it starts with winning Sunday and you go from there.
It's going to be interesting to see how they handle this week, not just with the Patriots, but also the Texans. That short week is going to be incredible football to see just how good this coaching staff can be in preparation on a short week. But yes, you're absolutely right. You talked about the last 4 years, but 5 of the last 6 seasons, the team has gone 2-5 and made the playoffs. Now, there are outliers, of course. Certain teams go on a run. Other teams get healthy at just the right moment to turn these things around. And with the Jets, like we talked about, this is an insanely talented football team. And if we were playing Madden with this current Jets roster, their roster is probably closer to a 90 overall than anything else. But the problem is you can't play football on Madden. You have to work together as a team. The 2002 Jets were the last Jets team to win the division, and they did so with a 2-5 start. They were able to turn it around and got some help along the way. It's extremely difficult to see Buffalo, stumbling right now, particularly after the Amari Cooper trade. It looks like they have a stranglehold in the division. But you've seen instances in NFL history where this turnaround has happened. 2-5, particularly in a 17-game slate, a 17-game schedule, isn't the sort of be-all, end-all that it used to be in previous seasons. So everything's still right in front of the Jets. If they win the rest of their games, they're 12-5. If they lose one game, they're still in a position to be successful. But as I said before, have they given any inkling of hope, any inkling of evidence that they can turn this around, that they can play good football? The only time we really saw and said, wow, this team could be really good is against the New England Patriots. And immediately after that, Aaron Rodgers said, yeah, we got to learn how to win. And they lost 4 in a row. So they have no idea how to sustain success. They have no idea how to gain success. And quite frankly, it's all just encompassing together in just this dark cloud. So listen, it can happen. It absolutely can happen. But until they start showing evidence that they are in preparation to do so, I have my doubts that they'll be able to turn it around.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them beating New England, and then we'll have false hope going into Houston. They'll play a poor game and lose. Like, this team has not shown anything to make you believe. But if they want to prove everyone wrong, they certainly have the talent to do so. But I think they're going to need, guys to stop beating themselves. That's been the biggest thing, Nick. Like, every week there's a new reason why they've lost. I mean, there's been, poor quarterback play at times, poor protection at times, lack of a running game at times, bad special teams play, specifically the kicking game, awful stopping the run. Like, every week you could point to a different reason why they lose. Even this game on Sunday against Pittsburgh felt like they were going to blow the Steelers out. Then the interception by Rodgers happens before the end of the first half. And this team, I believe, made of glass, soft as Charmin, completely folded. And like good teams, that doesn't happen to. So I hope Adams calling them out wakes them up before it's too late. It might be too late now, but at least, there's a path to winning on Sunday and maybe stabilizing things for a couple of days. Like, that's what you hope if you're a Jet fan at this point.
And that's what you're looking for. You're looking for stabilization right now. You fire the head coach one week. The next week, you're trading for Devonte Adams. The week after, Haason Reddick's coming into the building. I mean, this has just been a nonstop clown show for the last 3 weeks. There needs to be some stabilization just to make sure everyone is still on the same page and they're trying to get to a specific goal with a specific scheme in place. I will say there are reasons to be positive. As bad as this season has gone, I mentioned it yesterday, there are reasons to be pleased about what you're seeing. Will McDonald having a breakout campaign, awesome for the organization. 8 sacks, closing in on 10 in his sophomore season. This is a massive jump. It's great to see. You look, the secondary is still elite when everyone's together. DJ Reed having a dominant season. Michael Carter playing well. Sauce Gardner may not be the all-pro.
They should be back Sunday, by the way, right, Nick? That seems to be the indication.
The expectation is one or both will be available by that point. And then on the offense, I like what I've seen from Joe Tippmann. I've liked what I've seen when they've used Braylon Allen correctly. There are pieces here that have worked for New York and that have some positive spin to this for the regular season. But I think you put it best, soft. They are just such a soft football team where the minute something goes wrong, they think to themselves, well, we're the same old Jets. It's going to cascade into a billion other, failures, and we're going to lose this game like we always do. I don't think they believe they can win football games. I don't think they know how to win. And it's such a dangerous combination when you have a young team like this, and you still have a young team. Listen, people are getting on Garrett Wilson for his struggles against Pittsburgh Steelers and how he hasn't been able to take that leap into superstardom, but he's still 24 years old. It's not like he's entering the prime of his career. He's learning the game just as much as anyone else. There's still a lot of young talent on this team, but this young talent has no idea how to win. And the older veterans are not doing themselves any favors because they're the ones that are making a lot of these mistakes.
And just, you need your best players to play better, man. Like Garrett Wilson, what's happened, man? You got to catch that ball. You look at Brees and some moments from him this year, not scoring a touchdown, the fumble. Like, it's just been, there's things you could point to from like your best players. Sauce not being as good this year as he's been the previous 2 years. You go up and down the list. I name a player other than maybe like Will McDonald, DJ Reed, like John Simpson. If I say, has this guy been better or worse than what you expected, most of your answers would be worse at this point. And that's incredibly disappointing for a team that, despite maybe we overrated the roster a little bit, there's just no way this team should be 2-5 with the talent they still have.
And listen, we can say that we overrated the roster. Perfectly fine. What is overrate the roster? I thought they were a 12-win team. I think most people were looking at 11, 12 wins. Are we saying that they're just a borderline 9-8 team right now? Sure. I mean, I think that's objective. They can probably get to 8, 9 wins. But the way they're playing right now, they're playing like a 5, 6 win team. They're playing like they have no talent on the roster. They don't believe that they can do this. So, I mean, it really is just incredible, the psyche and mindset that this team has gone through, where they're not giving up by any stretch. They're still putting out an effort, but it is just alarming how dead they look.
And that's why I'm glad Adam said what he said. It's pathetic that the guy who's been here for 10 minutes said it, but it's like, hopefully, if not now, then when? Like, this is your last chance. So I'm glad, you're going to go down. You go down, at least speaking up. And, when the guy of his stature saying it, maybe it does carry some weight. We'll see. The Mets were 11 games under 500. They were 0-5. Lindor called a team meeting, and they were the best team in baseball the rest of the way. So we can only hope the Metsness can rub off on the Jetsness the rest of the way.
And listen, a big part of the Mets turnaround that people forget, it was obviously Lindor calling the team meeting, but Jorge Lopez was thrown out of a game and essentially said that he was a bad teammate and this team stinks and yada, yada, yada. That was also a rallying cry where the Mets had essentially hit rock bottom in terms of embarrassment. There was nowhere to go but up. Grimace happens, OMG happens. All these other cascade of positive vibes to shift the entire team. Maybe this is what the Jets need. I just look at this in the way of, yes, it was right for Devonte Adams to speak out, but it doesn't mean that this suddenly turns the corner. This still looks incredibly embarrassing that the guy that just showed up has to come out and try to save this team with a team meeting of his own. It's not a good look, and it just looks terrible.
Unless they start winning, right? That's it.
And again, do we have evidence that they're about to go on a run? Absolutely not.
Nope. But I'd imagine, once again, the other teams that were 2-5 that then went on a run, there wasn't a lot of evidence for them either. That's the only thing I can go back to.
And listen, it's fair. The Jacksonville Jaguars coming out and turning around their 2-5 start to be able to win the AFC South, they were absolutely terrible in games the entire season. I mean, they were just awful in that first stretch with Doug Peterson. And then they turned it around late. And this is why you want to play your best football later on in the season. But you also don't want to dig yourself a massive hole where you're wondering where the hell's the light at the end of the tunnel. So that's kind of the balance there. And with the Packers were the youngest football team in the NFL last season. And they still are. They're an incredibly young roster. To me, the Packers learning how to win there, you saw the natural progression. You can't really see this natural progression from the Jets because it's not like you have a 23-year-old quarterback. It's not like you have, these young offensive linemen that are gelling and working together. There are older players on this roster who should be leading the way and have not on the field. Tyron Smith, the signing has been an utter disaster to this point. Aaron Rodgers has not been as good, not even just been above average to his standards to this point. He's been well below his average standards throughout the regular season so far. So it's really, to me, the veterans that were supposed to come in and bring in this understanding of how to win that haven't been able to do so. That is probably the most alarming piece of everything.
If you have a question for Nick or myself, super chat it in. We'll get to it. Big shout out to everyone who supports me via Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. You got a couple days left to join to get your name included in the intro for the upcoming month. You also get Discord access. We'll have information about our tailgate plans for the Asmaniac group buy next week for Jets Texans on Halloween. Plus, a bonus show was posted yesterday for those of you who want more content. Patreon.com/Jake Asman Show. All right, some super chats coming through here. This one from Doug, who says, if I know this team like I do, we win the next two, they get blown out by Arizona to kill any of the good vibes we built up. I think it could go like that, Nick. I also could see the scenario. Jets win Sunday, they look good. We all get excited that it's a turning point, and then they look terrible against Houston and lose. I could see that happening as well.
See, I could see both happening. I don't think Jet fans are going to be too high off of beating the Patriots.
No.
I think there's going to be the understanding of this is a 1-6 football team that we just beat, the worst team in football, without an offensive line, without a receiving core. The defense stinks. The coach is on the way out, essentially. All these problems that the Patriots have are just embarrassing to the nth degree of a professional organization. I don't think people are going to get too high after this win. I really don't. I could certainly see this situation happen. Get to 4-5. Everyone's suddenly like, okay, we just beat the Texans. We got something here. We can turn this season around. The Texans, one of the best teams in the AFC. And then you play the Arizona Cardinals and you go up against Jonathan Gannon and you lose like 16-10. I could completely see that happening.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I also think the most painful scenario for the Jets is, Nick, they finished 9-8 and they missed the playoffs because we lament some of these brutal games they lost. The Steelers tiebreaker could come back to haunt them. Denver could come back to haunt them now. I mean, Denver's playing Carolina this week. We're going to get to 5 wins. Like, it's crazy.
The Denver game specifically, I think, is like the Steelers. The Steelers are competing for the AFC North. They're still tied for the AFC North lead. So we have to expect one or both teams between them and the Baltimore Ravens will be in a spot for the playoffs no matter what, just based on the overall record. That Denver loss is massive on this schedule. Denver, and I would argue Buffalo as well, even with losing this past game to Pittsburgh, if you had beaten Buffalo to sort of stabilize things once Jeff Ulbrich became head coach, I think that changes a lot of the conversation. But those two losses specifically to me are going to really, really hit home hard if the Jets don't make the playoffs this year, but still finish above 500.
Well, think about it like this, too. If they just had one more win right now, we wouldn't be sitting here being like, oh, great, they're 3-4, all is right. But if they just had one more win right now, we'd spin it like, okay, you got Reddick back in the fold. Davante's here. He's going to build up and reestablish that cohesiveness and chemistry he has with the Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, you could see the path with the schedule to this team being okay. They'd get back to 500 on Sunday, and then, can you go 2-1 over your next 3? You're 6-5 at your bye week. Not where you want to be, but it's all still in front of you to make a run. But that Denver game killed them, right? If they just stole the Viking game, or if Greg Zuerlein hits kicks against Buffalo, if they just had one more win right now, the whole tenor of the season is completely different.
If they beat Denver, Robert Saleh is still the head coach, even with a loss to Minnesota. He would be the head coach. They would have been, 4-3 after Minnesota. Let's say you lose to Buffalo and you lose here to Pittsburgh. 4-5 or whatever the number is. I'm terrible at math. 3-4, whatever. That's still a good record. And that's still able to at least get you in the hunt for the AFC where you can turn it around with a looser schedule. 2-5 is an absolute massive, massive hole. 3-4, far more manageable. You see a lot more teams making the playoffs after 3-4 starts. It has happened far more frequently than the other. And just really, it's a microcosm of this team not knowing how to win, not knowing how to make the plays necessary in order to win, to clean up the plays that have been just dragging this team down week in and week out.
Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are approaching 40,000 subs, Jet fans, so help us get there. Thank you to everyone who tunes in each and every day. Some more super chats here. 25 writes in, lose to Minnesota, add more talent, still lose to Pittsburgh. Well, perfect transition to get into that talent. I think the Jets are completely tone deaf, posting Haason Reddick walking into practice yesterday, and then the owner being like, great to have you here, Haason, in a tweet. Just say nothing. The only time they should be posting anything about Haason Reddick is after he has a sack on Sunday against Drake May. I thought that was completely ridiculous. On the same day, they're asking season ticket holders to pay already for their tickets for next year, despite the team being 2-5 We don't know who the coach is. We don't know who the GM is. And we don't know who the quarterback is necessarily next year. So brutal day for the New York Jets organization, in my opinion. But anyway, Ulbrich says that they anticipate Reddick playing this weekend. Nick, you'll be there. What are you expecting from Haason with the Jets?
I'm expecting at least 10 to 15 snaps. I don't think he's going to get, a massive amount of snap percentages overall because the Jets want to learn who he is as a player, learn how he can fit in this defensive system. And as we've talked about before, Reddick is not a bad run defender. He's also not a good one. I would put him right about average. So keeping him off rundowns probably makes a lot more sense going into Sunday's contest. I don't think you're going to see a lot of him. You'll see him in obvious pass situations. I've said before, he's one of the most clutch edge defenders in the National Football League. You look at the last couple of seasons, Reddick was a key part in any big defensive play that Philadelphia made at any point in games in 2022 and in 2023. The games they lost, Reddick did not play up to his standards. That's essentially what it came down to. I look at his expectations, and I also look at the last couple of days, as you said. I think everyone understands what Haason Reddick is doing here. He is trying to get the long-term extension that he wants, whether it's with the Jets or a new team in 2025. No one is confused by this thought process. I do think, though, to say it's tone deaf, to say something, I'll let you describe it what it is, but when you have a player that's been away from the team for 4 months, as Haason Reddick was, and you're pretending that nothing happened because he showed up to practice the first time, you are setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to be a laughingstock for your fan base and around the National Football League. Showing Reddick entering practice and Woody Johnson parading around saying, yes, we got him in, we got him in. What if he doesn't play well? What if he doesn't play well against New England? What if he has to start the season out slow and everyone is going to look and say, well, Jets, why didn't you give him this deal in the first place? Why did you not get a deal done before you made this trade in the first place? It's going to essentially just restart all those conversations again. And listen, Reddick's a great player. He's one of the better pass rushers in the NFL. I continuously say this. But it's also fair to point out, to expect him to put up 2.5 sacks against New England, it's ridiculous. It's probably not going to happen. It could, but it's most likely not going to happen. And I look at where the Jets are right now and just putting out videos of Haason Reddick and putting out videos of Devonte Adams and all these different things. They're star chasing right now. They want as many stars as they can to put butts in the seats. And it doesn't matter if they win or lose. Well, and that's really the
Davante, to me, it's like, it's exciting they got him. They were 2-4 at the time, but it's like, okay, you got him. It's been rumored forever. Fine. Like, people could be excited about that. When you're going out of your way to highlight Haason Reddick, it just shows a complete lack of awareness for the situation. This fan base is enraged at Haason Reddick, enraged at the owner, enraged at the GM for allowing the situation to get to where it is, where they're 2-5, and this guy is showing up being like, I hope we could turn it around. Like, what? Just don't show anything. You don't see them posting videos of Michael Clemens walking out to practice. Why? Because the guy stinks. He's terrible. Same thing with Reddick right now. He has not been a Jet at all. The only time we should see any highlights of him being shared by the team accounts is after he does something in a game. And I don't know what to expect from him this week. Hopefully he can make an impact by the Texans game, because they should be able to beat the Patriots with or without Reddick. Now they got to go out there and get this guy ready to be able to chase around C.J. Stroud on Thursday night, 1 week from tonight.
I think there's a legitimate case that it's not even the Texans game. It's probably the Arizona game, where he's going to need time to get acclimated, not in terms of getting in shape, because he's been working out off to the side in his own facilities left and right in Philadelphia. But it's getting in line with this Jets defensive scheme. Now, the wide nine seemingly should be music to Reddick's ears. The Eagles are putting him in pass coverage. They were putting him all over the field to try and figure out his particular role, and that's why the sack numbers dipped from 2022 to 2023. This Jets defense is all about seek and destroy. It's been about seek and destroy for years. So with Reddick, it's a perfect seamless fit. You just have to make sure that actually happens. If he comes out with the sack, comes out here, comes out there with a couple of good performances, then we can start talking. But putting him on Twitter, putting him in a video before he's actually suited up in a game, not something I would have done.
You're just asking to get trolled when you do that. You look stupid. Dana with a super chat. Well, I agree this is the lowest I've been in a while. I'm not going to act like sweeping the Pats won't make me style, but yes, means 0 for the playoffs. For sure. Look, if they destroy the Patriots, I'll enjoy it. I'll be doing a watch party. We'll be having fun. But, we'll put it in the proper context. They should win. They need to win. Get to Thursday a week from now with a chance, to go on a 2-game winning streak and start to believe a little bit again in this team. As far as the game goes on Sunday, Nick, what to you is the ideal game plan for this one? Are we going to see a better version of Aaron Rodgers now? Is he going to play more free and less angry as he talked about this week? What are you expecting from the Jets in this one on Sunday?
I'm expecting a similar game plan to what they had the last time these two teams faced off on Thursday night back in September. I'm expecting them trying to get a big lead early and force Drake May to throw the football. I would expect a lot more players in the box to try and force the Patriots to become pretty pass happy going forward. Very, very similar. Listen, if it ain't broke, fix it. And when you're playing a Patriots team that doesn't have the firepower to keep up at all, certainly, in my opinion, just essentially duplicate it and just continue to execute. If you execute based on the talent you have, this game should not be close.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching live right now, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. We're talking with Nick Faria, Jets beat reporter for Athlon Sports, in his weekly spot on the program. Michael with a super chat. Nick, what would be the difference if we kept Salah / promoted Downing, other than the bad vibes / uncertainty it created for the future? Do you play Olu means buy Tyron Smith?
All right, so I'll break this down. First off, what would be different if we kept Salah and promoted Downing? I think there's a legitimate case to make that the Jets defense, which has struggled in the last couple of weeks, would not have had some of these struggles. I think they would have been a little bit better against the run, a little bit better against the pass. The dynamic of Jeff Ulbrich having to be both head coach and defensive coordinator clearly is an adjustment for him. He has said as much to this point this past week. So you wouldn't have to worry about that adjustment, while also going through the obvious positives that the offense has brought up. They are putting up yardage. They're putting up points. The problem is they're not executing when they absolutely need to, and they're turning the ball over at the last minute. That's not a Downing problem. That's a player problem. I love what I have seen from a schematic standpoint from the Jets offense so far. So I think they would have been at least in a bit better position if they had just allowed Salah to promote Downing over Nathaniel Hackett after the loss to the Minnesota Vikings. Now, speaking of Olu Fashanu, I've been on record saying that there needs to be a very long conversation with Tyron Smith. You are running out of time. You're running out of time. If Tyron Smith continues to play like this and he struggles out against New England, I think you need to have that conversation to go to Olu Fashanu. You're 2-5. If you go to 2-6, you're going to throw Tyron Smith out there again. You try to trade him. You try to get anything of value for him to allow your younger players to play. I think we're really getting to a demarcation point where the more Tyron Smith struggles, the more likely we're going to see Olu Fashanu in his natural position.
I would start him on Sunday at left tackle. I would.
I wouldn't be opposed to it. I like, that's the thing. I'm not saying they need to. I'm not saying they should, but I would not be opposed to that process because the offensive line the last couple of weeks has really struggled, and it's really from one side of the field. TJ Watt last week didn't really have the massive, impactful game that we're used to seeing out of him. It really was Alex Highsmith, like I mentioned going into the contest. I mentioned Highsmith was a name to watch out for, and he just absolutely abused Tyron Smith multiple different times. And I just, you look at it and say, how many more times are you going to watch this 30-year-old get beat? How many more times are you going to watch this aging player get beat consistently, showing that father time has clearly come from him?
25 writes in, showing Reddick before he does anything is a joke. Completely agree. It's just
I don't have a problem with them showing him like getting on the field or taking a part in drills, like obviously building towards something. But it was the fact that Reddick was like, hopefully I can come in and help this team and save this team and yada, yada, yada. That's the part where I'm like, okay, what are we doing here?
It's just, you want to post them with the montage of practice photos they always post? Fine. But to isolate him in a separate video of him walking out onto the field, like, read the comments, Jets. What do you think people were going to say?
Or just like a drill. If you're going to do it on a drill where he's like ripping through a dummy or something, that would make sense.
Brutal. Michael says, so firing Salah was a bad move, just needed Downing.
Listen, Robert Saleh did not help his case. The record is what the record is. He was not good enough. The team was undisciplined. The same problems that he had in 2021 were showing their ugly head in 2024. There was a reason why the Jets made this move. But you're also seeing why most teams opt to not make a coaching change in the middle of the season. Because if the players all aren't on board, you get these kind of performances where they're coming out flat because there's really no energy for when an owner just steps in and makes a decision for everybody else.
Ladies and gentlemen, the super chats keep coming in. They're paying the bills around these parts. Jarrow just with $5. Jarrow, if you have a comment or a question you meant to put in this, please write it in, and we will bring it up on the screen. Comments, questions, super chats, and now your calls. Let's say hello to JT, who's first up today on the Gusbuster hotline. What's up, JT?
Yo, what's up, guys? How we doing?
Living the dream.
I hear you. I don't know how to feel about this Haason Reddick thing, man, because, Nick, I know you're an Eagles fan, right?
Yep.
I used to live in Eagles country until I just moved recently, but from what I know from their fan base is that Haason Reddick just chases the bag. He's not going to play well against the run because he's going to be chasing a sack every damn play for the bag. Is that accurate?
Okay. There's a first off, I wouldn't listen to Eagle fans because Eagle fans right now are currently debating if a 28-3 win can't be celebrated because they didn't throw the ball 300 times. So let's temper our expectations about what Eagle fans expect of players and what they think of players. No one is denying that Haason Reddick is chasing a bag right now. He wants numbers, and he wants numbers so he can get his major payday. He's not getting his payday if he can't stop the run, if he doesn't perform well against the run, because he's not going to get that contract. He is going to need to play all over the field in order for him to get that contract. Do not listen to Eagle fans that is saying he's selfish. He was not selfish. Listen, I've said it before. Haason Reddick, in this instance for the Jets, is not wrong to want the deal because he has shown 4 straight years, 10-plus sacks. Only Myles Garrett was able to do that. He has shown he has been a very consistent edge rusher in the National Football League. He's worth the money he's looking for.
I agree.
The Jets didn't give it to him. All these other teams didn't give it to him. That doesn't make him selfish. That just means he doesn't understand his own market. That's not a selfish thing. It is a player trying to get the most out of his situation. So don't listen to Eagle fans in that regard. He's not selfish just because he wants the bag. It's not selfish for a player to try and get the most value out of himself when a shelf life of an NFL player is only 3 years to begin with. That's not the case. Was he in the wrong to sit out as long as he did? Of course he was. He missed out on millions of dollars of fines. But it's not just his fault that happened.
True. Yeah, I get it. This one person specifically is like more of a level-headed Eagles fan because I know how like 95% of them really are. I don't like the Eagles. No offense to you, but I don't like the Eagles fan base for 95%.
My frustration with my fan base is getting up there because I saw one person come out and say, yeah, but they didn't throw the ball well against the Giants. And yeah, sure, they ran for 260 yards, but
they destroyed them.
I want to throw the football. I want to win by throwing. That's the only way to win in the NFL.
Why do you need to risk your quarterback getting injured if you could just run the ball with Saquon down their throats the whole game?
Jay, listen, people are stupid. People are stupid. That's the only explanation I have.
Right. And then one more thing I want to hit on real quick, that Davante speech. I love that he stood up in front of the group. I don't think he's out of place at all. Like he said, he's only been here for a couple of days, but we need a leader to call out everybody. We really needed that. And hopefully this shakes something up. We have an easy game against New England coming up before we have a short week against Houston. So I'm hoping that he can shake something up and we see something different from this team coming up on Sunday.
Amen, JT. Let us pray that there's still hope. Some super chats here. Thank you to Tyrone for this one. I don't care if we win 10-9. Just win and start a win streak. Reddick and Davante will get the team going. Hey, I have been this crazy for 50-plus years. I always believe, even when I'm pissed, go Jets. The way I look at it is, until they get that 7th loss with this schedule, root for wins, man. Like, it can be done. They are talented. We've seen bad Jets teams before that at 2-5. They have no chance. I don't see it necessarily with this team, but, like, 4 years in a row, a 2-5 team has made the playoffs. Hopefully the Jets can make it 5.
Yeah, but are we really going to sit here and say that a 10-9 win over this Patriot squad is just going to be okay and everything's going to be fine?
No,
This needs to be a blowout. The Patriots are awful. We can talk about easy wins and whatnot.
Win by 10, right? If they win 27-17, like, just win, man. Like, win.
That's fine. It's got to be. You can't win 27-23 against the Patriots. I'm sorry. They're so bad. The Jaguars are terrible, and they blew the Patriots out.
Yeah, I mean, they destroyed the Patriots the last time they played them, so it's like, come on, man.
There's no reason whatsoever to have a one-score game like 10-9 or 23-20. Like, this needs to be a Jets overwhelming contest.
Nick, I'm trying to restore the vibes here. I gifted a channel membership to one lucky listener.
Let's get brick up.
Yeah. All right, listener John Woo, you're an Asmaniac. If you want to gift the membership, it's just $5 to pay it forward. Click on my name and make sure you hit the turn on gift receipts so you can receive a membership if someone wants to make it rain. Pittsburgh Mike writes in, this team has a major focus problem, specifically with listening to the media. Rodgers alluded to it. They simply expect to get on the field and win, earn it. Hope Devonte Adams changes that culture. Your thoughts on this, Nick?
I think the focus problem is dead on. I wouldn't agree to they expect to step on the field and get a win. I don't think they believe in themselves to be able to do that. I think it's really a confidence and focus issue because everyone hears it's the same old Jets. They're gonna find ways to lose. They're gonna find ways to be embarrassing, and that seeps away at everything they do. I think there's a focus issue, but it's not that they expect to win; it's that they expect to lose.
Oh, the pain, as Joe B would say. By the way, for those who missed the announcement, Joe Beninga will be joining our watch party on Sunday. So RSVP if you want to watch a Jet game with Joe, a rare opportunity to do that. Make sure you guys come out. We'll be there at 12, games at 1. We'll have Red Zone and some of the other games on some of the other TVs as well. Looking forward to being at T-Squared on Sunday. Nick, one last call potentially for you here. Sergi is on the line, and he's next on the show. What's up, Sergi?
Hey, guys. How you doing?
How you doing?
What's up, Sergi?
All right. So thanks for taking the call. Quick, I have two things. First one is, have you guys heard the Rich Cimini rant on Reddick on his podcast?
I did, yeah. Rich went off.
Listen, Rich, I've met and known Rich now for over a year. Very, very nice guy. Very mild-tempered. I've never really seen him go out of his way to just overly criticize something. That was like, I didn't know he had it in him. Holy shit.
Great, right? Poetry, I thought. I agree with, I found myself nodding along the entire time, getting fired up. Like, yeah, yes, thank you for speaking for the fans for once. Ooh. Like, really, he like, I think he dialed in and really, felt it from us. Especially
sometimes you just need that. Like, you need that snap. I tend to have this a lot when I'm talking like Eagles and I'm really getting frustrated with someone that I'm talking. You just snap. It's just let it go. I'm a little bit more out there, so I just tell people when they're being idiots. But I think Cimini, something snapped in them when it was he was asked the question. He's like, I can't take this anymore.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So I thought he like really channeled all of us. And then second thing is more about like a legacy thing. And I think Jake, you said earlier in the week how this loss did a lot of damage to the fan base, and I think this is like I've decided to not have my kids inherit my Jets fandom. Like I know it's serious. Like they're going to be Yankee fans. They're going to root for like the minor league Yankee teams here in Westchester, the Hudson Valley Renegades. Let's go. And my crazy F1 fandom. But that ends there. Knicks are optional if they want to be, but Jets, I'm like, listen, do whatever. They're just 31. Just not the Pats. Not the Pats. Anybody else.
So what you're saying is they should apply for Fandom of the Eagles?
If they want to. I mean, my wife went to college in Philadelphia, so, fine. But
I'll send an application.
Thank you. I'll go right to the garbage. But so the question is, Jake, I know you have the pulse of the fandom here. Like, have you been hearing that a lot from all the Jet fans? Like, this is kind of where it ends with, listen, if they want to be Jet fans, fine. Like, they'll see me wearing green anyway. And if that happens through osmosis, fine. But have you been getting that kind of, I'm not as excited anymore, like, in general? So what do you think?
Yeah, I do think there's something to that, right? I mean, there was 2 years of buildup for this year after what happened with Rodgers week 1 last year, and it just kind of feels like if it's not going to work now, when is it ever going to work? Like that's the kind of the feeling. It's like we've tried young quarterbacks, trading for a Hall of Fame quarterback. We've tried different types of coaches. We've tried firing the coach. We've tried adding talent, and it's now going on close to 15 years. I'm not making the playoffs, and especially if this continues to get as ugly as it's been, Sergi, and you're talking about a new GM, new coach, probably a new quarterback next year. Like, when does it end? So I used the word, irreparable damage during the postgame show on Sunday night. That's the type of damage I think they're doing to this fan base right now, and it's why they need to stabilize things and at least get a win on Sunday to get people to maybe take a breath and go, okay, can we beat Houston and then maybe go on a little run here with the schedule being easy?
There's one person for 14 years now, potentially 14 years, the Jets are going to miss the playoffs. They've had one winning season at that point. You can look and say wrong coach, wrong players, wrong GM, whatever it is. But when it's 14 years, there is one person to look at. The guy who brings the checks out to everybody. The guy who makes the decision in the long.
Thinking is overrated.
Listen, Philadelphia, and again, I make this comparison because I know their structure very, very well because I've also covered them as well. They have a losing season or they have 2 losing seasons, and it is adamant change that happens. They went 4-11-1 in 2020, and it was an embarrassing moment for the franchise, and the GM altered everything in how they built their roster. They altered the head coach. They've made coaching changes very frequently, maybe not as frequently as the Jets, but the owner is never pleased and is making moves because he understands what works in the NFL. I think there's a legitimate question to ask if Woody Johnson actually knows.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Sergi, thank you. When does the pain end, Nick? It never ends.
It ends. It will end soon. Listen, the sun's not going to burn out before the Jets next make the playoffs. It's not going to happen. The Jets will be making the playoffs at some point. It's just a matter of when and who the heck the head coach is going to be when that happens.
Ladies and gentlemen, a super chat from Jero has come through the pipeline. Chipotle has officially been covered, folks. Crazy how the perception is everything. If Zerline just makes his damn kicks, we're not talking ourselves off the Whitestone Bridge right now. Yeah, it goes back to the point I was saying earlier, right? Like, if they just had one more win right now, it would change the whole tenor of the conversation. Wouldn't make everything perfect. They still will have issues, but like, it just shows you, man, wins matter. Wins mean everything. Nothing else matters unless you win. That's why it doesn't matter if you win ugly. They don't ask how, they ask how many, and that's the problem.
There would still be panic. Like there would. Let's be legitimately fair here. If they were 3-4, there would still be panic. There would still be people, coming out with their pitchforks saying, "What about this? What about that? They're not playing well. It's this. It's that. Yada yada yada." It's the fact that it's 2-5 and they look lifeless. They look disinterested. They look like they don't know how to get out of this particular spin. And that's really the problem. If Zerline makes that kick against Denver and they're 3-4, are we sure the team knows how to win? Are we sure the team is confident enough to be able to win? I don't think so. Like there's fundamental issues here with this organization because the players that come in just losing left and right. So they don't know how to figure it out and how to win. It really is just incredible. The lack of focus and the lack of positive thoughts that come in. It really feels like whenever they get down, it's game over. And whenever they get up to a lead, they're worried about holding on to the win as much as they possibly can.
Sean says, fed up hearing we need to get better. We need to figure it out. Just sort it. Agreed.
Happens with wins. That's the only way to do it. Listen, Eagle fans do the exact same thing. They get angry. Jalen Hurts says, we got to cut down on the turnovers. And they're like, well, you say this every week, and you've turned the ball over more than anyone else since 2023. But then when he does it, it's, okay, great. We've turned a corner now. It's just the natural cycle of this.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is Nick Faria. Nick, good luck with your coverage on Sunday. I hope for the love of God you see a Jet win because I don't know if this fan base could stomach a loss on Sunday right now.
Well, listen, this fan base is already on the ledge. You lose to New England. This Patriots team, oh boy. It's that's as ugly as it gets. That's going underneath rock bottom, essentially. So I fully expect a victory. The Patriots aren't good. Like, they're the worst team in football. I think this should be a win for the Jets, and it should be an easy win going forward.
So you're saying people should come out to my watch party on Sunday because they're going to see a win?
Every bit, every single bit. It's really just right up there. You got to go to this. I need to go to this. I know I haven't. I've been terrible in terms of attendance. Eventually, I will, though.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is Nick Faria, Jets beat reporter for Athlon Sports. Nick, I appreciate your time as always, man. I'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Nick Faria covering the Jets with us in his weekly spot on the show. Nick looked like he was joining us from a jail cell there, so appreciate him making some time. I mentioned the watch party. Joe Beningo will be there. Will you?
The official, in case the timeout was needed, it wasn't because Hall's taken off to the end zone, in for the touchdown. The pressure. Rodgers knows where to go with it. Brees Hall on the run. Hall into the secondary. Past the tackler at the 20. Brees Hall inside the 10. Challenge. He dropped the flag before he could throw it, so Rodgers instead runs the play, and it's a touchdown to Conklin.
See you there on Sunday. RSVP with the link I have posted in the description. All right, here we go. More super chats coming in. Anthony D writes in, F. Rich Cimini. He is no friend of ours. Who's Rich Cimini? Samini. Any relation to Rich Cimini? S or Cimini. Bo with a super chat. The blame game gets us nowhere. Can we believe in the new process? Not everything works perfectly from the gate. Start this week. One game at a time, Bo. Fans are pissed, but the players got to have a wake-up call. They got to look each other in the eyes and realize they do have the talent to turn it around. Can they do it? I have my doubts. Can they win this week? I do think they will. More on Devonte Adams' speech. This was Aaron Rodgers talking about it yesterday.
It was, I won't say exactly what I said, because there's some cameras rolling and colorful metaphors involved on how I really felt about the speech. But to paraphrase without using any French, I thought it was the realest speech I'd ever heard in a locker room in 20 years.
Is that surprising? You know him very
Not
well,
surprising
right?
at all.
But he's only been there for 5 days. That's what I'm saying.
Well, you
Like,
mentioned
right?
that. I mean,
Yeah.
he led with that. He
Yeah.
led with that, which I think was important. But there's just certain guys over the years that are, I don't even know what adjective to use is better than this one, but they're just real guys. And when they speak up, you feel it. And I was kind of looking at him when Brick was talking, and Brick was saying some great stuff too, and he's been fantastic. But I just could feel like, oh, Tay's about to say something, you know, and then he started talking, and everybody that was in that locker room felt it. So I drove home with him after the game and just told him how proud I am of what he said in that moment.
Please just win. Please just win. This team is too good to be 2-5. Just win games, man. Let the Davante speech be Lindor's team meeting for all the Jet Met fans out there. Dalt with a super chat. Hope will sprout again if we put up 40 on the Pats. Yeah, if they look good, yes, it's the Pats who suck, but one, it will be fun to dance on their grave because screw the Patriots and their god-awful fans who deserve nothing but the worst forever. But two, it will allow us to take a breath and be like, okay, did they find something? Can they win a game at home against a Texans team? That's a good team. But it's a game that the Jets can win at home in a short week. They'd be a favorite. By the way, the Jets are actually, if you on the look-ahead line right now, a favorite on Thursday, a week from tonight. That's how you got to look at it. Tyrone with a super chat. Thank you, Tyrone. Jets need to come out 14 points and run, and give Aaron the rest of the game off and bring in Tyrod. I'm pumped we're going to do this. I hope so. If they get up big, they should put in Tyrod. Don't let Rodgers take any unnecessary hits. We know he's banged up. They got a game in 3 days after this one on Sunday, so you want him to get as much treatment and rest as possible so we can play. 25. Yeah, F Rich Salami. I could use some salami. Maybe I'll get a salami sandwich for lunch. I'm hungry now. Your super chats are going to today's lunch. Jennergy with a $10 super chat. Thank you, Jennergy. This is for you. This team needs a big smack in the face, a la Chair to Nicolas Cage in Moonstruck. Snap out of it. Team Davante, Team Jennergy, LFG. You know what this team needs? They need some energy, man. Where's Neil at?
I think that guy I know, right?
The Jets have not won since Neil thrusted himself on a Drake May jersey at our tailgate before the home opener.
I think that guy I know, right?
Incredible. Open phone lines for those who want in on the conversation. If you're watching live right now, click the like button. There's 600 of you in here. Are all 600 of you subscribed to this channel? I have my doubts. Prove me wrong. Just like the Jets need to prove us wrong. Tom A says the jersey hump is needed now more than ever. That's the missing piece to the season. One would argue. One would say.
Oh, this is what I'm going to do to you all season, little bitches. Oh, take that, you pesky Patriots fans.
We need it, man. We need it. More of your calls right now. Gustbuster hotline is open. We say hello to Ted in Florida. Hello, Ted.
Jake, how are you? Good morning.
What's up, Ted?
Hey, real quick, the fact that Davante just came into the room and felt the need to make a speech to players he barely knows is an indictment on the coaching of Robert Saleh. Heavily indictment, because Saleh is the guy that's there to build a culture and build camaraderie and show a team allegedly how they should be acting in general on the sideline. You know, I'll just start with that. I'm not trying to dance on his grave, but maybe that's one of the reasons why he got blown out of here, because the time was maybe the players are playing down to a very low level. Let's just say that.
Yeah, I think it's a major indictment on the coach that Davante said what he said, and he's been here for 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I was expecting, and you know, maybe I'm expecting too much from players like Quinn, and maybe he's not the vocal type, but when the ship is going down, every man's got to stand up. You know, I don't care if you're not vocal, you're going to have to, you okay, Jake? You're going to have to, so you're going to have to be your voice. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's, you know, in a meeting. I don't care if you got to pat somebody in the back. Whatever you got to do, man. I mean, I don't know, Jake. It's so frustrating. I don't want to look ahead to, you know, if we have to tear this thing down, that's going to disgust me to death. But let's just, like everyone said, let's just go. And I really agree with Nick. Let's blow the Patriots out. I don't want to win by 3. Like you said, let's get in there and rest Rodgers. You know, score some points and rest Rodgers, and at least we get the DJ Reed and the Michael Carter back. I think that's going to be a big help. That's really hurt us the last few weeks. Thanks, Jake.
Thank you, Ted. I agree. I think DJ Reed provides leadership, energy, fight, passion. Carter as well. They need those guys. So it looks like they're going to be back. It's just tough to picture this team going on a run right now, but you can't go on a run until you win the first game first. So win Sunday and hope it starts. We're presented today by Underdog Fantasy. Underdog right now has a bunch of specials to celebrate the NBA season returning. You can get your picks in already for World Series Game 1. So if you've never used Underdog before, great time to use it. Download the app, use promo code Asman, and if you're someone who's never used it, They're going to give you a chance to get up to $1,000 in bonus cash. Make your picks for all your favorite games, sports, teams, etc. Check it out. Underdog, promo code Asman. Say hello to Chad Jett, who's next on our show today. Hey, Chad, how are you? Unmute your mic, Chad. Click that.
There you go. All right. Good. Awesome. What's up, Jake? How you doing, man?
Hey, Chad, how are you?
Good. You know, I'm not going to lie. I'm still feeling pretty down about this team. I usually shake it off by like Wednesday. But everything I'm seeing, I'm just like, you know, I've opted out of my season tickets.
How long have you been a season ticket holder?
1 year. I was going to keep going, but you know, after this, it's like I'm not giving them my money, especially if they're upgrading the pricing. It's like forget it. But the reason I'm calling is I'm thinking about this Devonte Adams speech he gave, and like good for him for doing it. But for all the people wondering why Robert Saleh was fired, the fact that Devonte Adams has been here for 10 minutes and had to give this speech, this attitude from this team doesn't just start because they lost a couple games. This has been the culture of this team for years, right? These guys have been brought up in this league with this mentality. So the fact that a guy had to come in here, show up on a Tuesday, lose on a Sunday, and then give a speech about show energy on the sideline, it's like this is the problem with this team. Damian Woody said it perfectly. Actually, Rex Ryan too. This is a roster, not a team. This is a collection of individuals. The fact that they're in this must-win game and like this shouldn't be happening, right? This team, and look, this team is talented. I don't think anyone will disagree. I've been listening to your show for years, and this summer I was really hyped. Like, we've got what we need. But these guys are just a collection of people. And now you see Haason Reddick showing up looking like a defensive tackle in week 8. And the Jets are tweeting about it like, oh, look who's here. It's like, oh, yeah, look who's here. It's week 8. Like, well, it's week 8 and the dude's fat. But, you know, like, well, who cares? It's like we could have used this guy 8 weeks ago. Why is this happening, right? Like, he's here to collect a check. He's here to make a case for himself so he can go get paid next year. He's not here for the Jets. Let's be honest with ourselves, right? Like, like no matter what, and look, I'm not trying. I'm a very optimistic person with this team. I've stuck through this team through a lot of stuff, right? Like I'm not the type of guy and Jet fan that's like constantly negative. I just want everyone to understand that. You've broken me, then we've got a problem, right? You know, and I don't even want to talk about where do we go from here. I don't care. I hate to say it. Like, and look, I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna root for the team. Of course I am, but. Like, how do they expect us to get excited, you know, and then you have A-Rod saying, oh, well, the first thing we need to do is not listen to you, the media. Well, actually, like, the first thing you need to do is win a game.
Right.
And then the media will actually – what they don't understand is that this market, this fan base, this media will be all over you in a positive way if you do something positive. We haven't seen anything positive. They're reacting very rightfully. You know, we're all reacting very rightfully, you know. Listen, I don't know. I hope they turn it around. I don't have a lot of faith. I'll be honest. I hope they do. I'm not optimistic about it until this team shows that they actually care about winning. Then I don't know what we're doing. And everyone's talking about, oh, we'll go sweep the Patriots and then we'll see what happens. Like, I'm not so sure we're going to be. I'll be honest with you. Like, let me see it. I don't have confidence this team can actually beat anyone at this point. And it's not a talent issue. That's it.
Chad, well said, man. Great call. Call back anytime. I agree with you. You know, I'm someone who tries to be positive and optimistic too. I don't see a run coming right now. Now, the only thing I could point to is like there's been 2-5 teams the last 4 years that have done this. 5 of the last 6 years, 2-5 teams made the playoffs. The schedule is easy. They do have talent. They were 2-5 and 0-2 when they won the division the last time. Like, I can find stats. Like, it's happened before. Why would I expect it to happen for this team with their history? Show us. I want to be wrong. But I don't blame Chad for canceling his season tickets. They're going to raise prices and ask for payments in October when the team's 2-5. You don't know who the coach is next year. You don't know who the GM is next year. You don't know who the quarterback is next year. And you want to raise prices, Woody? Come on. And the Jets are going to post a video of Haason Reddick walking out the practice being like, hope we could turn it around. Really? Just don't post anything. The only time they should acknowledge Haason Reddick in a social media post is after he sacks a quarterback. Then tweet out that highlight. It's tone deaf. You think fans want to see that? A reminder of the fact that team's 2-5. Here's Haason Reddick walking out the practice to save the day. Really? I mean, it's very frustrating, man. This fan base has been through it, and they still come back, and we're still supportive, and we get nothing. The stadium sucks. They can't even figure out how to show fireman Ed properly to lead the chants after touchdowns now. Can't even do that right. The one thing this team does well, we have fireman Ed who leads the chants after the touchdown. They didn't show him after the Garrett Wilson touchdown on Monday night last week. What a joke. Can't even do that right. We're supposed to be positive? Like, no, show us. You want us to be positive? Win some games, man. I think they're going to win Sunday, but if they win 16-13, we're not going to be celebrating it. Even if they win 35-10, like, great. Now go beat Houston. Unfortunately, this win will feel a little hollow if they look good doing it. It's like, where's this been? Is it just because you're playing New England? Like, show us something, man. Go win a couple games in a row. Tom became a channel member. Thank you, Tom, for supporting the show. You are officially in as Mania. Comments, questions, super chats. Keep pumping those in. We'll get to them. Let's see. This one's from Knuckle, who says, can I bring my girlfriend to the watch party, or is it a sausage fest? There are definitely women there, but there's more guys than girls, as you'd imagine. That said, definitely bring your girlfriend. It'll be a lot of fun. And I'll give you an example. All right. We got plenty of 4% female demographic at the Jake Asman watch parties, like the one we did after the Titans game. Mrs. Craig, Jenner G, Jay Graves, they were there. So yeah, bring the ladies, bring whoever. All Jet fans are certainly welcome. 25 says, with Reddick here, I don't want to see Clemens once. You're still going to see Clemens, but obviously his playing time should significantly decrease. Eric with a super chat. Rodgers running the show as Mike McCarthy, the next head coach. If they hire McCarthy as the next head coach, I'm done, man. Omari, who had a great call the other day with a super chat. Now the media is saying Aaron shouldn't be speaking because he's the new guy. Shake my head. Or saying Adam shouldn't be speaking. I have no problem Adam saying what he's saying. I think it's great. You have nothing to lose. I think it's a major indictment on the culture that Joe Douglas and Robert Saleh have built. That a guy who's been on the team for 5 minutes noticed this and felt like he had to say something because it was that bad. Ladies and gentlemen, hit the like button if you're just tuning in. You know, there's a lot of talk on what the Jets need to do to save the season on Sunday. One suggestion I've had is we need more Neil Shuffle. And Neil joins us now. Hello, Neil.
You know, I just had a conversation with Rob. I'm gonna try to make it Sunday. I got some issues going on. I got to be out east, and I got my grandkids coming, but we'll see. A point I was thinking about. Okay, one thing that really aggravated me with Brick was when he said that Haason Reddick is going to really add to one of our packages, our rush package. I don't like these packages anymore. We don't have the depth on the defensive line to be shuffling guys in and out. We have a crappy, you know what I'm saying? It's like when you have lines in hockey, right, Jake? You have 3 or 4 really good lines, and the third line is always work. Once we go past our standard line, which right now is going to be what? Clemens, 54, Will McDonald, and Quentin Williams. That's our base 4, correct?
Yeah, I mean, it's not what it was. They have had injuries. They never replaced.
Okay, no, but we got our base 4. Now, what I want to see, and really what's going to change, I think, the dynamic of us stopping the run is to stop having C.J. Mosley 6 yards off of the freaking line of scrimmage. 6 yards. Every time I see C.J. Mosley, he's 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he's giving time to the offensive line to get to the second level and put pads on him because he doesn't move. He just sits there and he takes the block and he goes like this and he tries to make a tackle 6 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I want him on the line of scrimmage, standing over the center and either run blitzing, stepping back, or doing something where he could be productive on the line of scrimmage. Either do it with him or do it on the outside. With somebody should always be 5 guys on the line of scrimmage. Enough, especially when you have lighter guys in the box. When you have Reddick and Will McDonald, you better put a 5th guy on there because those guys don't need to be double teamed because they're small. You follow on run plays. So you got to have that 5th guy in the box every down. Don't you think that's a good idea, Jake? Put 5 on the box, drop Quincy and 44.
I mean, and they're also going to have Reed and Carter back this week. So
I get it. And that better happen. That better result in some goddamn turnovers because we don't turn the ball over.
Exactly. We need blitzing. We need to stop the run, trust your corners at one-on-one and man coverage, and get it done, man. They should blow out this crappy Patriots team.
How about this for we have not recovered a goddamn fumble in a season. It's always the same shit. The ball comes out. There's 4 Jets standing around. They're trying to pick it up, and an offensive lineman falls on the ball from Pittsburgh. How many times am I going to see that? I want to die. When every other team, when the ball comes out, it's the other way. With us, the ball comes out, it dances around the floor, and somebody falls on it while we try to pick it up. I'm so tired of seeing that. Those are defensive deficiencies that have to get fixed. We are good on the offense. The offensive line blocks for Rodgers. They block for him. I'm not seeing guys like last year come free and, off the line of scrimmage, running out of the pocket. He's sitting in the pocket comfortably. I saw a play, that interception to Brees. To Garrett. Brees Hall is all by himself, 10 yards past the line of scrimmage, right in the same line of sight, and he didn't see him? Or he's trying to force the ball and pump it down the field when we didn't need to go down the field. We had a lot of time left.
Yeah, it was a mistake. The O-line has not been great in run blocking. Tyron Smith has been bad at both, but I just saw something today from PFF, the Jets pass protection 7th in the NFL. Rodgers has had time. He's just not playing as well as we thought he'd play to this point. It's been very up and down. He's had a couple miscommunications with some receivers or he's not on the same page with. So you hope that's improved now with Davante here. It should be. And Garrett, obviously, other than that brutal drop that led to the pick, he's played well these last couple games. But it's they still only scored 15 points last week. Neil, they got to get the offense going. They got to score at least 24 points every game.
They're going to score points. What I don't want to see is the only thing that could hurt us in this game is, Stevenson's going to carry the ball, and they're going to get him a lot of carries, and he's like the same thing as the Pittsburgh running back. You don't bring him down by tackling him up top like we try to shoulder guys and grab him on the top. You got to hit him low and hit him on the legs and knock him, up, take his feet out. As long as we could do that and we stuff the run early, we're going to get our points, and the game should be very easy. This should not be a difficult game for us. I saw what Jacksonville did with them. They boat raced them. As soon as they got up to score, they just ran the ball. I couldn't stop it. So we could do that very, very easily. I'm expecting this to be an easy game. I'm not nervous for this game at all. Okay? I'm looking for this to be a get-right game for us. The defense better change it up. We can't continue to do this bullshit 4-man rushes with, bring in this guy when because the other team, Jake, they're not stupid. When we bring in our race package, what do? they run the ball because they know we're light in the box, and it brings big holes, especially on second down. You can't do that all the time. Stop the bullshit.
Let me ask you this, Neil. Are those Cool Ranch Doritos?
Yeah, I'm cool. I'm having communion. Love.
It's a great flavor. It's my favorite one.
I just got off the golf course.
How'd you shoot?
I shot a 92.
Nice.
Which is my game is between 88 and 92. My son, oh my God, he shot 82. He is ripping the ball. I mean, we played Windwatch, the Marriott Windwatch out on exit 57. Very tough course. A lot of water. And my son tore it up today.
Wow.
We play in 3 hours. We're the first ones out. He's taking lessons. He's a country club golfer now. He's down to a 10 handicap. And he was a 22 2 years ago. He's down to a 10. And we got to get you a green jacket. Tom Ace is right. We got to get you a green Jets jacket. I want to tell, the only reason for me to go Sunday is I have to have a round of golf with Mr. Joe B.
Yeah, you got to meet Joe B. Come on now.
I know. Him and I would hit it off. We would be golf buddies. I know it. I have a lot of friends in Jersey. I could get invited to a lot of really, really good courses. My clients all belong to the best courses, the best country clubs in Jersey. Joe would love it. But we'll see what happens. I'm 50-50. But I'm excited about the game. I'm eternally optimistic. When I'm negative and I turn negative, it's time to shut the show down for pick it up next year. But that's not going to happen until we have 7 losses. I told you. Thanksgiving.
Neil's down. The Doritos are getting them.
Now the Cool Ranch is in my throat.
Neil, don't worry. We got your point, and I'll see you soon. Come on, imagine Neil giving the Neil shuffle with Joe B in the house. Everyone's got to come to this watch party on Sunday. More of your calls coming up. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Super chat here from Garrett, who writes in, can't help but feel like we can't make a field goal from anywhere. I agree. I have no faith in Zerline. I think it's a joke they haven't added the new kicker yet. Purple Belt Mike, I have no faith in this team, but somehow still do. I mean, I think they'll win Sunday, Mike, but I'm not falling for it. Like, I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, they beat New England, now they're going to beat Houston. No. Because every time I felt like, all right, you know what? They'll figure it out. This team's too good. They're going to win some games here. They're not this bad. They keep losing. So I think they'll win Sunday because New England's that bad. But I wouldn't pick them against Houston right now. I wouldn't. We'll see how they look Sunday. If that maybe changes my opinion. Maybe, a key player for the Texans gets injured this week. You're not rooting for that, but let's say that happens. Maybe then your opinion on the matter will change. Houston's playing the Colts at home this week, but I don't know. Michael writes in with the super chat, a jar of Vaseline should be included with every season ticket sold. All Jet fans should get free Johnson & Johnson products for the lifetime duration of their season tickets. C says, never seen Jets Twitter this quiet, all-time low. Yeah, people are pissed, sad, angry. They're raising ticket prices.
Thinking is overrated.
Let's say hello to Matthew, who joins us now. Hey, Matthew.
Hey, Jake. How you been, man?
What's up, dude?
Oh, nothing much. Jake, over the course of the week, there's been a lot of references to the Jets' 2002 season, which was obviously you play to win the game season, 2-5, like the way the Jets are now. And then they went on a win streak, winning the division. A lot of people bringing up the Packers also 2016, because I think that was the year they started out slow and then they went on a win streak. But harking back to the Jets of 2002, people are bringing up the fact that they went on a win streak following the 2-5 start, but no one's bringing up all the help that they got within the division. I mind you, Miami was 5-1. That's when they were red hot with Ricky Williams. And the Patriots weren't really the Patriots quite yet. They were defending Super Bowl champions, but they didn't really become the dominant team that they later became. It didn't really happen until the next season, 2002. So they were a very average football team at best. Now, taking that into consideration, I mean, in order for the Jets to make the playoffs, they would have to not only win, but there would have to be a bit of a Buffalo Bills collapse. I mean, Miami and Patriots, we're not taking them into consideration. They're not very good this season. But
what about the wild card, Matthew? Why are you only focusing on the division?
Well, I mean, just let me get to my point. Just looking at the Bills' remaining schedule, you have their next game is at Seattle. I could actually picture them losing that. Dolphins easy, Colts easy, Chiefs at home, and they usually fare well against the Chiefs, at least in the regular season. 49ers, who knows what type of team they're going to face that day. Rams, that should be theirs. At Lions, they probably lose that one, and then Patriots twice, and the Jets. So just really my only question to you is, can you picture a possible Bills collapse, or do you, if assuming the Jets become competitive moving forward, will they just have to settle for a wild card? But in particular, how do you feel about the Bills' remaining schedule?
I think it's difficult, but I think they have built themselves enough of a lead. They're going to win the division.
You don't picture a collapse at some point?
No.
No? All right. I mean, this really isn't Josh Allen's most talent-laden Bills team, but I hear what you're saying. It's really all I had to say. Go Yankees. Getting a little help from above from our old family friend Fritz Peterson, and thank you for your time, Jake.
Matthew, appreciate it, man. Go Yanks. Yeah, I mean, I think the Bills are going to win the division. I do think the Jets are able to still fight for a wild card spot, though. I can see the Jets being like 6-8, and they're like in the hunt. Like we'll laugh at it. It'll be brutal to see. But couldn't you see that? They're 6-8. They're still somehow in the hunt graphic. And like Neil's coming on with the calculations of what all these teams have to do, and then the Jets either win out to go down. Like, I could see it. Hopefully they win Sunday, and then they beat Houston, and then it's like, okay, there's a path to 6-5 at the bye. If you do that, you're in the mix. And the Bills could take a step back, but I think they have built themselves enough of a lead where, barring them completely collapsing, they're going to win the AFC East. That's the problem. Mike D's nuts in the house. Jets last 2 years, it's literally Allie the Slider Man meme. Allie the Slider. Oh, I know what you're talking about, the one where they're pointing at each other. Ladies and gentlemen, he is Mike D's nuts.
Is this Mike D's nuts?
Yes, it is, Leanie. Yes, it is. All right, more of your calls right now on the Gusbuster Umbrella Hotline. Before we do that, please subscribe to the channel. If you haven't done so already, it's free to do so. And there's 670 of you watching live. I'd imagine not all of you are subscribers. So what are you waiting for? It's free. Just hit subscribe. Warning before our next caller.
Warning, warning, Allen alert. Shit's about to get ugly, folks. Warning, Allen alert. Hide the children.
Hello, Alan.
Good morning, Jacob. Proud of my shitty Hawks beating Gary's shitty Nets yesterday. It was a lot of fun to watch that. That might be the only time my team will be over 500 this year, so I'm very proud of that. 3 points. Matthew, the Bills are not blowing the division. I'm sorry. We're 3.5 games behind them. We need to win one game. The Bills are not the Bills minimum will win at least 10 games this year. At least 10 games. So they're not going to blow that division, okay? Secondly, listening to Neil. Neil is such a good guy, but when he said this is going to be an easy win, I swear to God, I think I called my sports book and bet like $1,000 on the Patriots +7. I mean, Jesus Christ. Okay. And finally, to my good friend Rob, the Jet fan. Okay. I laugh and you question why I laugh. Yet the Jets raise ticket prices at 2 and 5. Oh God. Raise ticket prices at 2 and 5. And they spotlight Haason Reddick at 2 and 5 running onto the field. Are you fucking kidding me? That's pretty simple, okay? Sometimes you want to cry, but you watch the Jets organization and they continue to boggle the mind. What stupidity they continue to do. Pretty much it.
Alan, thank you for the time.
Let's not drop the challenge flag.
He's right. I mean, The highlighting Reddick is ridiculous. I called it out the second I saw it yesterday on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, does anyone hate Allen more than Rob, the Jet fan, though? Oh, man. Ricky says, all I hear is a whining noise. Ricky, not the biggest Allen guy either. Nate says his tickets went up 26%. Ridiculous. Robert says, I didn't try to call in. I'm at my wife's medical appointment. It hit the link and said I was backstage. Well, Robert, if you want to call in, we'll bring you on the show, my man. Ladies and gentlemen, let's say hello to the number one grinder. Hello, number one grinder.
Good morning, brother. Yeah, I also seen that Razor Rod. I mean, he ran to the field, but we 2-5. So what? We need to get a dub right now. And the Patriots, we on a winning streak. Then we Patriots, yeah. But like I said, you got Devonte Adams who has been with the team within a week, and he had to make a speech. That's sad. It really is sad. So for me personally, I'm like halfway in, halfway out, halfway in as a Jet fan. I'm being honest. I am. They got it. We got to see them winning streak. They got. I don't want to hear no. Oh, we beat the Patriots yet? No. We go win some games, and y'all need to knock down the price of the seats. Are you kidding me? And you're 2-5? That's all I'm gonna say. Thank you. I appreciate you. Keep up the good work.
Hey, well said. Well said, number one grinder. Yeah, to raise ticket prices and ask for payments in October when you're 2-5 is tone deaf. To post Haason Reddick running out to the practice field yesterday, it's tone deaf. How can anyone argue that? What like if you're the Jets social media team, why are you posting Haason running on the field? Just don't post anything. Show a different player. I know that they have their job is just to create content and post stuff, and it's tough to do it when the team's losing. I get all that. I know how this works. But it's a choice to post Haason Reddick running onto the field. No one's excited about Haason Reddick right now. He's a reminder of this failure of a season at this point. If he plays great and he sacks Drake May on Sunday, yeah, tweet the highlight. First career sack as a Jet for Haason with the clip. No one's going to be upset about that. We want to see this team win. When you post that, it's ridiculous. Babar writes in, send Woody to the shadow realm, Jake. Look, if we could fire the owner, obviously it'd be great. You can't.
Thinking is overrated.
It's brutal, man. Just brutal. Shouldn't be this bad. Ladies and gentlemen, more of your calls right now. Let's say hello on our Gustbuster Umbrella hotline to B-Mac.
B-Mac. Look at my TV. B-Mac. I love Aaron Rodgers. Jets. Go.
B-Mac.
Hey Jake. How are you today?
Oh,
I just want to call.
I'm great.
Yeah, I know. I can tell. I just wanted to say that look, I might be the only one here that's on this boat, but I'm not giving up on this team. I'm still gonna have faith. I still believe, and I still think this team can go on a run and do something big this year. So I'm gonna be in the Jerome the Packer fan boat until this team loses 7 games, then I'm out. But until now, I'm still holding on hope. And I think this team. Oh, and by the way, for those who want Rodgers to sit this weekend, he's not going to sit. He's going to play. This guy plays through injuries. As he said, his 80% is better than anyone behind them. So I think this team's gonna pull together, and I'm not giving up on them just yet.
B-Mac, From your lips to God's ears.
B-Mac. Hey, you hater guy. Allen sucks and JJ can kiss my ass before I wipe.
Rodgers is playing Sunday. I think if he was truly as banged up as we thought, this would be the week you'd play Tyrod because you're playing Houston on Thursday. Right? If you didn't have a short week, you're playing Aaron Rodgers, 2-5. I will say, though, if they can get a lead on New England, I'm getting Rodgers out of the game. I'm not letting him take hits for no reason. Because you got to keep him healthy and you got to get him ready for Thursday. It's a quick turnaround. Curly says it's easy to have faith when you're not a Jet fan. It's true. Nate says, of course, BMAC feels good. His team's 5-2. Rebecca says, what the hell is on your TV, BMAC? Bo with a super chat. Thank you, Bo. Nobody's excited about Reddick. It's more about the respect of the organization. What's the message we send not acknowledging new player arrivals? What do you mean not acknowledging it? Don't acknowledge it on social media. The coaches, the players, the owners, they're going to acknowledge it internally to him. Jeff Goldberg's asked about it. He praised him. Rodgers asked about it, said, it's excited to get him here. Hopefully he can help our defense. That's acknowledging it. I don't need the Jets social media team posting a video of Haason Reddick walking onto the field being like, I hope we can turn it around. Bro, you could have been here from week 1 helping this team. Maybe they wouldn't be 2-5 right now, facing a must-win game against the Patriots on Sunday in October. Come on, man. You think players are noticing around the league, wow, the Jets didn't post any video of Haason at practice. What does this mean? I don't know if I'm going to sign here now. Come on. FPP says, I'm glad I joined the chat right after BMAC was on. Damn. FPP, what do you got against BMAC? We know Dave Briga can't stand the guy, but you too. Tommy says, Jets' 5 losses have come against teams that are combined 22-12. No breaks early on from the schedule. Now it gets significantly easier. Take advantage. Man, I don't want to hear that, though. They should have won some of these games. I know the teams they're playing all appear to be better than we thought, right? Denver right now is better than we thought. Minnesota's really good. I get it. I don't want to hear that, though. They got to be better. Tommy, you're right. The schedule is easier, but the Jets haven't shown any ability to beat anyone. Do it Sunday and then do it against Houston. That's it. Meadow says if Reddick was here week 1, he'd be exposed like Huff is. This is stupid. Bryce Huff wasn't exposed with the Jets. He became a great player because he played in this Jets scheme. Goodbye.
Excuse me, miss. I need to return this damn child. He's no good. Sometimes a child just is no good. Take his one back.
Farewell. Knuckles says, what's the admission of the watch party? Free. Free admission. Show up. RSVP with all the info. Description is in the bio. If you have not been to a watch party, this is probably your last chance because if the Jets lose Sunday, I don't know if I'm doing another one. I don't have it in me. So this could be the last one. So make sure you come out and support. Mike says if the Jets could win in dominant fashion Sunday, it could provide some juice and optimism heading to the Houston game. I'm beating a dead horse at this point, but just get a win. I love it. Rebecca says, there will be more. I don't know about that one. Rebecca, best watch party of the year. Are you coming, Rebecca? FPP, Jake, I'm tired of all the Rodgers love. He needs to play better, man. I still think he's capable of being much better than we've seen. I think we've seen it at times. I think people saying he's washed, he's not good anymore. Like, I think that's so unfair. Like, you realize how bad the quarterback play has been for this franchise? When was the last time a Jet quarterback played as well as Rodgers did against New England, the second half against Tennessee, the game against the Bills on Monday night? He was very good. He had a 100 quarterback rating and threw for 294 yards, 2 touchdowns. That wasn't on him why they lost. See, like, people are, like, I think are judging Rodgers to his old standard. I never thought he was going to be MVP Rodgers. I've been on the record numerous times. What's hurt this team is they don't have the top 5 defense we were expecting. They don't have the top 5 special teams we were expecting. They don't have the running game we were expecting. So now you're asking more from Rodgers, and he's hurt right now. He needs to play better. I think he can play better. But I also think you're now, like, changing what your expectation should be for a guy who's 40 coming off an Achilles. That said, play great against New England, get a win, and we expect you in primetime to play well against Houston, and let's go on a run. Gustavo, Miami finishes second in the division. I mean, if I had to pick right now how that will play out, I'll say yes, because McDaniel's a better coach than Ulbrich, but we'll see. Hopefully I'm wrong and the Jets could wake up and give us a season. Nate says, if you support Jake and can make it, show up to T2. Thank you, Nate. I look forward to seeing you Sunday. Merklo, Jake, this is me paying you to play the Allen Jet Chant. Man, Allen Jet Chant for $1.99. To have to look at that mug on the screen and torture the audience, I'm going to need more than $1.99. Sorry, Merklo. All right. That's at least $5 to put Allen's mug on this show. Are you kidding me? We need more than that. Dark Knight Steve with a super chat. Hit the like button and save the season. Carmine says, I'm convinced people don't listen to me. Does anyone listen to what I say? Where's the meetup in the city? T Squared Social, Midtown Manhattan, right next to Grand Central Station, right next to Bryant Park, 7 East 42nd Street. That's where the meetup is. Sunday, party starts at noon, kickoff at 1. Jesus. Where's the meetup? There's the meetup. Be there or be T squared. Gator writes in, how much does the meetup cost to get in? Boom chat, I wish this community had a meetup. Carmine says, I screenshotted. I'll come. It's been everywhere, bro. RSVP, man. I have posted the link 1,000 times on social media. Love bites. No wonder why Gary calls us the 75ers. Now, the new name for the chat is SEAL Team 75 because Gary said the chat is a bunch of clapping SEALs with a 75 IQ because we have the audacity to agree with his moronic opinions on basically everything. Merkler, will Joey B be I can't. We got to end this show. I can't do it anymore. What a season this has become, man. What a nightmare. Dark Knight Steve, subscribing will result in a win streak per AR. I've heard the same thing. I've heard the same exact thing, Steve. Anyway. Thank you to all who watched. Thanks to Nick Faria, who joined us for the first hour of the show. Hope everyone has a wonderful Thursday. We're back in a few hours this afternoon. Reddick is going to speak today, so I'll give you some thoughts on that after that happens. But anyway, thank you all. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. We're approaching 40,000 subscribers, which for a team that hasn't won anything to have this many diehard fans who follow the show, it's incredible. We're at 39,687. So if you could click that subscribe button that's on the right-hand side, that button that says subscribe, takes 2 seconds and helps the algorithm. So please do so if you haven't already. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Jake Asman. This has been the Jake Asman Show. I end today's show with one message and one message only. New York Jets, please, for the love of God, please, for the love of God, win a football game. Flight Boss up next. What's up, Flight Boss?
Hey, what's up, Jake? I love your show, man. You know, I've been watching you for a while.
That can't be your real voice.
Yeah.
You sound like Darth Vader.
Oh, wait a minute, man. I'm new to this stuff. Let me see. My voice changer.
I don't want to sound like a female or nothing. Wait a minute.
Say, Luke, I am your father. We'll let you go, Flight Boss. We couldn't understand anything at all there. This show never ceases.
Get in the hole!
Shout out to all the incredible Asmaniacs who joined us for an awesome evening of eating, drinking, talking Jets, and a heck of a lot more. It was so great to see so many of you again and meet so many of you for the first time. I also would like to shout out to our guy Neil in Garden City for leading the Jet chant last night.
Is Brock Purdy going to run for his life on the opener? Yeah! He's going to die. Let's go. J-E-T-S, Jets, Jets, Jets.
Neil coming through, and that was one of the many Jet chants that occurred last night. So shout out to everyone who came out. Special thank you to Matt O'Leary, Nick Faria, and Brandon Pockrass, who all came out as well.
Jay Quest picked me up off the train, right? So I walked down the tracks. I'm looking for him. He told me he was in a red Honda. I'm looking around, and I see this animal-looking thing with a mask on with a sign saying Mr. Bonesy.
Hey, Bonesy's Uber driver. How are you?
I'm good. Listen, I had the luxury of picking up Bonesy at the Hicksville train station. What a fine gentleman he is. I picked up Bonesy at the Hicksville train station. I dropped him off with Jay Quest. You know, I spent the night in the background. They put me in the basement. That being said, the best part of the night, Jake, I have to say, is you manhandling your mother. I was right there behind you. You didn't see me. It's kind of crouching down. What a night, Jake. The food was fantastic. They had no dog food or cat food, whatever the fuck I am. But I got to say, it was great.
That's how my day started off. Then we get to the place and meeting everybody. Jake, what you do for our community, showing up with all those people, it's like we knew each other forever. I'm meeting people for the first time. It feels like we're family. I met your parents. Awesome kicking it with your dad and the real creators of this this Superman we got in front of us. Gary showed up. The food trucks had chicken and pasta on it, and it was delicious.
It was a blast. And seeing Gary walk in the fold, I mean, highlight of the night, wearing his Antonio Cromartie jersey, just unbelievable seeing Gary. And Gary, the best part about Gary is Gary had no idea that Decker even called into the show.
A lot of people there we already kicked it with, like Snowball and Neil and Rob. And Dre Day came all the way from Maryland. I mean, I missed Chef, but I saw him come at the end. He came with the gas station pizza, man. That's
Shout out to Chef Kevin. He showed up with a box, and on Sharpie it said gas station pizza, and it truly was gas station looking pizza inside. He was going to give it to Gary, but he got there too late. Unfortunately, Gary left already. But just the power of the Asmaniacs is incredible. I'm blown away every time we get to do events like that. I mean, that was so much fun.
Oh yeah, I like this guy. Where's his wife? Who's that guy? Neil, how you doing, Neil?
Let's go!
Hey, Snowball. Oh, you. I want to talk to you. Hey, get him back. I want to talk to him.
Genergy in the house.
Yes, Genergy.
The guy who we're here for created this man.
Who's that?
Oh, Bobby.
Hey, hi, Mike. Oh, you are awesome. Thank you for the umbrella, too.
My best offensive lineman on the squad.
Hey, Rob. How you doing?
You know what's up. What's up, Nick? Where are you, Nick? Luffy's in the house.
Hey, Brendan Brains. How you doing?
Take it easy.
Hi, Luffy.
Somebody say Brock Bowers.
Oh, no.
We out.
Okay. Where is Matt O'Leary? I want his butt on a stick.
Hey! Oh, Bobby, what's going on, Bobby?
Is that Matt O'Leary?
Nowski, where you at, bro?
Let's go, Get Matt O'Leary back. Get Matt O'Leary back.
Bobby Midnight Show, everybody. It's a show that never ends. It just continues.
Jets, Jets, Jets.